All right, there we go. So we are live on both YouTube and Instagram. Okay, good to see you guys. I'm so happy y'all are here. We are live again now. Instagram, let me know if y'all can hear me okay. Do I sound clear? Can y'all hear me? Um, okay, Gambia, Donna, hey y'all. If this is your first time joining, I am Brittainy Noel, mental health therapist here in Houston, Texas. I try to go live once a week and we have a huge group session, okay? Our nightly lives is designed for you guys to be able to come on, ask. I always say our slogan is ask hard questions to get honest answers, all right? So this is my night that I dedicate myself to you guys. Y'all say it's like the echo in the back. Oh, let me make sure I have it.
No, it's on the right sound. Okay. Uh, audio. Can y'all hear me? See, this is why I'm gonna have to stop going live on uh Instagram. Hmm. Can y'all hear me now? Okay, so y'all say it's better. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so y'all know I don't do technology, okay? But I'm trying to stream on two channels at one time. So we're doing the best we can. Let me know if it goes in and out or something like that. But hello, Ms. Zena. Okay, my TDF family is here. All right. If you guys are in TDF is the Daily Fix, and the Daily Fix is my morning meetup community who joins me every morning and they tune in and we talk about different things. If you are in a season of personal growth and development, the Daily Fix is where you want to be because when you join the Daily Fix, you get access to over 200 hours of content. So whether you're working on your identity, relationships, communication, healing, growth of any kind, I guarantee you there is something in the Daily Fix that is going to help you. All right. So the Daily Fix is a wonderful resource to be a part of. All right. Now, the only other announcement is, hey, Miss Candace, the only other announcement is that Made for This, all right? Made for This relaunched. It is the book that I wrote during the pandemic, but I relaunched it and added additional chapters, all right? So Made for This is on Amazon. You can just, Google it. Brittainy Noel, Made for This. But then we also have the Made for This coaching program that launches at the end of the month on the 29th. If you are ready to do some serious work, let me send y'all a QR code because I knew y'all were going to ask, okay? To be a part of the coaching program, you do have to apply to work with me. It's 8 weeks of work in a small group setting where I'm taking you through every stage of your own transformation. That's the link to the program, all right, so that you guys can apply to work with me for the next 8 weeks. Right now, individual sessions are limited, if not available. So the group coaching program is where you want to be. All right. All right. Hey, Mr. Charles. So we're going to hop into questions. I think that those are the only announcements that I had. Oh, I have one more. Okay. I was thinking about this today. So we're going to get to y'all's questions, I promise you. But right now, I need y'all's help. So can y'all put it in the chat? I'm available because I need y'all's help tonight. All right. I was having this conversation and I swear, if you need the link, it's BrittaineyNoel.com. Just go to my website, BrittaineyNoel.com. Um, I really, 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 really want to do a live show, because y'all know I do my live shows here in Houston. But I really, 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 really want to do a live show somewhere else. But I'm undecided as far as where I want to go, whether it's that the data tells me to go to New York, New York, Atlanta, LA, right? So those are the places I'm looking at right now, but I'm so undecided. So if y'all want me to come to your city with a live show, let me know, okay? Send me a bird and a sparrow somewhere so that I will know where I should take this live show. I really want to do it. I have two big anniversaries coming up that I'm thinking about doing a live show for. I'm just so undecided. So please, y'all, let me know. I see Atlanta, Philly. I like Philly. New York, of course, Orlando. I have a lot of Florida following. Florida is another one. Um, please pick up Los Angeles. New York. I'm telling you, New York and LA are like, the top two. Choose a place that serves me. Absolutely. I'm only going where I have a large following because, I need people in the room. All right. So I'm going to have to decide, y'all. I'm going to have to decide. In the meantime, if y'all are having any live events, I'm available. Book me to come to your event. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and kick off this live Q&A. If this is your first time joining, put a 1 in the chat. Welcome to the tribe. Okay, we do this once a week. Most weeks we do this once a week where you guys are able to come on and ask me your questions and I give you honest answers. Yes, I am a licensed therapist. All right, I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary in July. All right, so I've been doing this for 10 years and I enjoy it. All right. So whichever the first question is that I see in the chat, that's the first question I'll answer. YouTube, you guys are able to put your questions in the chat as well. And I can answer your questions as well. Okay, I see all the new followers. Okay. Welcome. Who has the first question? Are you in private practice? Yes, but I don't see individuals. I only do groups and programs and keynote speaking. What has inspired you? That's a good question. I think over time, what inspires me changes. What inspired me when I first got started is very different from what inspires me now. And your inspiration changes the more you grow and the more you learn about yourself. I think right now I am deeply inspired by legacy. My TDF tribe knows I think about death a lot. And it's not that I think about death in a very morbid way. First of all, I have a different relationship with death just because I've worked around it. I've worked in it. So I saw it a lot when I first got licensed. So death to me is not as morbid as it feels for some people. So when I think about death, what I think about is what impact will I have left in the earth when I die, right? So where I am right now, I'm definitely intentional about making an impact in this world before I leave this earth, whenever that's going to be. So when I think about what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do, I ask myself, what is the impact? What is the effect that it's going to make? Is it going to make any difference in the world? And that's kind of what helps me be inspired to do the things that I do. Okay, let's see. How do you truly forgive someone? Forgiveness looks different depending on the person and depending on the trespass, right? And the purpose of forgiveness. We have to be honest with ourselves about why we want to forgive. Right? Am I forgiving to reconcile? Am I forgiving in hopes that I'm going to get back with this person in some way? Am I forgiving this person so that I can move on with my life and not be with them? Am I forgiving so that I can heal and move forward? We have to be honest about what we're forgiving, because the motivation for forgiveness is going to dictate how I forgive, what strategies I take as far as my perspective goes. So first, be honest with yourself about the purpose of your forgiveness. What do I want to forgive them for? What am I trying to achieve? Many times, depending on the person, because sometimes people want to forgive so that they can reconcile, right? And if I'm forgiving you so that I can reconcile, that looks totally different because it's hard to forgive someone that I don't trust anymore. That's a totally different road than forgiving you so that I can move on, right? Moving on means I no longer have to trust you. I no longer have to share my life with you. So forgiveness, that path to forgiveness looks way different, right? So you have to be clear about what is the reason why I'm forgiving them. And then it always boils down to how is this helping me or serving me, right? Um, what will forgiving them empower me to do, right? Is it empowering me to be happier, to not think about it, to move past it without being triggered? You got to know what it is I'm trying to forgive them for. That's the first thing, right? For me, most times I am trying to forgive people because I want peace of mind. Because when you don't forgive people, they rent space in your head. Okay, you think about them way more than you want to think about them. You get angry and triggered about things that normally would not anger or trigger you. So it's very hard for you to be in control of your emotions when you haven't forgiven somebody. So for me, I want my peace of mind. And so I'm willing to forgive you so that I can drop back down into my own sense of safety, emotional safety. When you're taking that route, forgiveness is linked to disconnection. So if I'm disconnecting to this person, forgiveness looks a lot like death and burial. Death and burial. What about that connection died? And what am I burying with it? What about that connection died and what am I burying with it? And you go on the journey of grieving, whatever that thing was, giving yourself permission to grieve the bad, grieve the good, and release the bad, right? But also keep in mind that many times forgiving other people is wrapped up in our ability to forgive ourselves. Because I can't tell you how many times I punished someone simply because I was unwilling to forgive them, but the person who really needed forgiveness was me. Because I participated in the breakdown, I participated in the betrayal, I participated in the cycle. And so, in order for me to truly forgive them, I have to also be willing to forgive myself. And that's a whole nother ball game because there's a lot of shame, embarrassment, resentment wrapped up in my part, the part that I played in that situation. All right. Very good question. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll back up really quick. Hey, Miss Princetta. Let's see. Okay, how about this? Um, put your questions back in, and I'll just start from the bottom. How about that? When you talk about your own sense of safety, what does that look like? How do you make yourself feel safe? Boundaries. Boundaries, right? That's the purpose of boundaries. The purpose of boundaries is the exact same way. Using boundaries is like putting an alarm system on my car or my house. You feel safe when the door is locked, don't you? You feel safe when you know somebody can't break down your door, right? So boundaries are the ways in which I secure myself within myself, right? And when I say boundaries, people always think that the first thing they think about is, oh, I have to I'm putting boundaries on other people. No. When you start putting boundaries in place, your boundaries don't start with other people, your boundaries start with yourself. What boundaries are you placing on yourself that keep you safe? Before you can tell somebody else how they can talk to you and how you need to approach me and what you need to do to make me feel safe, and you need to talk to me this way, you need to treat me this way. Before you talk to other people about how they need to treat you, you first need boundaries with yourself about how you treat you. You first need because I'm telling you, you need less boundaries for other people when you have already put boundaries on yourself. I don't have to tell people that they need to respect me when my own personal boundary says, Brittainy, you don't go into places that don't respect you or uplift you. Brittainy, you don't try to create relationships with people who reject you. Brittainy, you don't chase people who have made it clear that they don't want to be with you. Brittainy, you're not allowed to go into places that diminish who you are or make you second guess your worth and your value. Brittainy, you're not allowed to do those things. Those are my boundaries. So when I honor my own boundaries because I have a healthy relationship with myself, there's less boundaries that I have for other people, because other people cannot do anything that I haven't consented for them to do. So before we get clear on what boundaries you want to put on other people, put boundaries on yourself first. And that's your first level of safety. Okay. That's my first level of safety, is to first put boundaries on myself so that I am acting in a way that is in alignment with my values and my belief system. That's my first line of safety. Okay. All right. How do you keep your boundaries when you have a weakness in that area for a long time? Explore the weakness, understand the weakness. If you guys are a part of the Daily Fix, okay, last month I taught on the topic of coming back home to yourself, right? The idea of being away from yourself and what does it look like to come back home, rediscovering myself, getting back in the driver's seat of my life. And one of the things that I talked about was the basement. Okay, so we explored the house and what the home represents. And one of the things I talked about was the basement. If you're in the Daily Fix, okay, let me do it now. If y'all want to join the Daily Fix, here's the link. Y'all know I'm good for forgetting. Okay. So this is the link to the Daily Fix. If y'all want to join the Daily Fix, okay, I'll be there tomorrow morning. But the basement represents the parts of myself that I typically want to hide from the rest of the world. It represents the parts of myself that I'm embarrassed about. It represents the parts of myself that I probably have not got a handle on. It represents the parts of myself that I am not proud of, quite frankly, right? It's where I'm undisciplined. It's where I'm unsure. It's where I'm not consistent. All of those things are in my basement. In your basement is also your history. You can find your trauma in your basement. You can find your past mistakes in your basement. You can find your failures in your basement. The thing about the basement is that even though I may not like what's in the basement, it's there. It's a part of my house. I can't act like it don't exist. Can't act like it don't exist, right? So it's a part of me. I have to take a journey of understanding this weakness that I have, because whatever behavior you're acting out, the behavior is a symptom to a larger problem. So I have to understand, I see the behavior and I don't like the behavior, but what is this behavior linked to? Most time the behavior is linked to an emotion. It's linked to a past experience. It's linked to a negative belief or a limited belief about yourself or the world. So the behavior is nothing more than a symptom to a deeper problem. Seek to understand the problem. Find out, why am I, for me, it's cake. Somebody was like, Brittany, do you drink? No, not really. Do you do any drugs? No, I don't do no drugs. But if you put a chocolate cake in front of me or a turtle, chocolate turtles have been my vice for like the last couple of months. You put some turtles in front of me, them turtles aren't safe. Okay. Especially if it's an emotional day. All right. The days where I'm feeling great, oh, cool. But put some turtles in front of me on an emotional day, you're going to have a problem. Okay. You will come back in 5 minutes and turtles are nowhere. Okay. Right. So knowing that about myself, the behavior is eating the candy. But the drive, the motivation, the motivating force is not, I just like candy. There's an emotional connection to the candy. Candy makes me feel good. It gives me endorphins. It makes me happy. I ain't drinking, I ain't smoking, but give me some turtles. Right? So with everything in my basement, I have to find an understanding of what that thing is before I can control it, before I know how to put things in place that makes it hard for me to go back to doing those things. Right now, I think in the TDF, y'all knew I had a whole thing of M&Ms in my house for a week, and that never happens. Okay, that's a good week. All right. So it demonstrates that when you understand what's happening within yourself, you can then control what's happening by choosing a new response to how you feel, how you think, what you believe. All right. Not the fried donuts. Where do you get fried donuts from? Never mind. Don't tell me. Don't tell me where to get fried donuts. Um, a man who puts his hands on a woman 3 times in 3 years, is it okay for the woman to leave even if you forgive the behaviors due to anger management? There's a meme that says, I'm finding my words. I'm finding my words. See, I have a filter, but I aspire when I turn 50, my birthday gift to myself is removing my filter and just saying what I feel. Okay. So at the end of the day, right? Because I don't care if it's physical abuse, if it's emotional abuse, if it's abandonment, whatever, if I'm in a relationship with someone, if their behavior and their emotional response to whatever's happening in the relationship, if their response is one that hurts me in any way, I have a right to opt out. I have a right to opt out. That question is not about the abuser. That question is about the person being abused. Why haven't you opted out? And yes, there's a whole cycle to domestic violence, but I want to be clear that to break the cycle that happens in domestic violence, the relationship between the abuser and the abused, is awareness and accountability. Awareness, being aware of the cycle, being aware of what's happening, and accountability, being held accountable to make a new decision. Why is this okay for me? I don't care. Listen, I've left people for so much less. For so much less, right? Why is this okay for me? And that's for every relationship, you guys. Romantic relationships, relationships with your parents, relationships with your siblings. If their behavior is out of pocket and out of line and they are not working to fix it in a sincere and genuine way, why is that okay for me? I have a right to opt out of relationship. I have a right. You have to do the work to figure out, why haven't I opted out? Because I guarantee you, if you don't opt out of this one, you're going to find another relationship that has a similar pattern, and then you won't opt out in that one either. Okay? How likely will a man cheat on you if his mom cheated on his dad? 0%. 0. People don't cheat because their parents cheated. People don't cheat because their parents cheated. People cheat because they made a decision that whatever behavior they were going to act out in that relationship was in alignment with who they wanted to be. They cheated because they wanted to be a cheater. When people come to you with the, well, I didn't have a daddy, my mama never taught me how to love. I've been doing this for too long, y'all. Because here's the thing. Just because you have a reason that can explain away your behavior, it doesn't take away from the fact that your behavior is detrimental to the relationship. And just because you may have a reason to explain the behavior, it doesn't mean that you are not held accountable for the consequences of your behavior. So if your behavior results in the consequence of us not being together, of us no longer talking, or you no longer having access, well, that's the consequence of your behavior. If I walk out of my house and go shoot somebody and I say, well, I didn't know the gun had bullets. Do you think the police are going to say, well, y'all, she didn't know the gun had bullets, y'all. Y'all don't take her to jail. She was unaware. She didn't know shooting a gun was going to hurt somebody. No, they're going to take me to jail. There's a law, a law phrase. Ignorance does not absolve you from responsibility. Ignorance does not absolve you from responsibility. If you don't know how to drive, don't get behind the wheel of a car, because if you wreck or you hurt someone, you're still held accountable. If you don't have the skills to be in a healthy relationship, don't get in one, because you will still be held accountable for how you behave in the relationship. So we have to stop excusing bad behavior just because they can explain it away. Don't do that. I'll tell y'all this story just because I've told this story on live before. But a long time ago, this was a long time ago. I'm just giving that disclaimer. Long time ago. Thank you. Ignorance is no excuse to the law. Absolutely. So a long time ago, I went on a date with someone, and we were like courting heavy, right? And I'm excited about this person. I'm not turning 50. Joseph said, "When are you turning 50?" I got about, let me do math. 16 years? Did I do that right? I got a while. Okay, I got a while. So, courting heavy, like the guy, excited about the guy, right? Look, Desi, it was a long time ago. So if anybody's watching, I'm not talking about you. But a long time ago, going on a date, and the guy, we were going to the movies. I was going to meet him there, right? Because I was doing something. I had a lot going on. I'm going to meet him there. Go home, and I'm getting dressed. He calls, "Hey, I'm on my way there." Okay, great, awesome. On my way there too. So I'm getting my stuff, putting my shoes on, grabbing my purse, getting ready to walk out the door. Walk out the door, get in the car, drive off, and my car says disconnected from Bluetooth. So that means my phone is not in the car. So I turn around to go get my phone. I'm in my house searching for my phone. Can't find my phone nowhere. Can't find it anywhere. Like I'm looking, like can't find it anywhere. So this took maybe about another 10 or 15 minutes. By the time I found my phone, I set it on a shelf, and it had fell down, and it fell into one of my boots. So it was hidden. Like I was not going to find this phone. It fell inside one of my boots. I got the phone, ran downstairs, get back in my car. By this time I'm late, right? So when I got in my car, he's calling me, and he's like, "Hey, where you at?" Actually, no. When I answered the phone, he didn't say anything. I immediately said, "I'm so sorry. I forgot my phone at the house. I had to turn around and go get it. I'm on my way there. I'm about 15 minutes away." Oh, okay. Like he said it with an attitude, right? Now my spidey senses picked up on it, right? Long story short, he has a whole attitude when I get to the theater. And when he sees me, the look he gave me was like, and I'm sorry, y'all, but when I do step out, I'm cute. Okay. I'm very cute. So you're never going to just be able to just look at me like, no, acknowledge my presence. Right. But he didn't. I said, "Okay. All right. Well, that's strike number one." That I'll give him benefit of the doubt and say that was strike number one. But as the night went on, things got drastically worse to the point that we had to stop the night and just say, "Let's just have a conversation." And in this conversation, he realizes that I'm completely turned off, and I'm just like, at this point, I'm just staying to be nice. But this is not going anywhere. And he goes and he tells me, "Well, Brittainy, the reason why I responded the way I did is because, I've been stood up before. I was going on a date and somebody stood me up before, and that's why I responded the way that I did." And I said, "Okay, I understand that." I was like, "But I literally talked to you on the phone, told you I was on my way. I explained what happened. There was nothing that I did that would give you a reason to believe that I was going to stand you up. I had been talking to you at this point all day. Like what? There was nothing that I gave you a reason to think that was going to happen. But you still treated me as if I was that person." well, yeah, Brittany, but you just never know with women and, this, that, and the other. I'm like, I completely understand. I said, now understand that you may have had bad interactions with women. You may have been stood up before. You may have been rejected. I get all that. But what I'm saying is that between me and you, I have done nothing to give you any reason to think that I would do that to you. But you treated me as if I did. And that's the problem that I have with how you treated me. Right. And he's like, well, I'm sorry, not going to do it again, blah, blah, whatever. And we did not move forward. Right. But it's a clear, and he couldn't believe that I didn't want to keep talking to him after that instance. And I told him, I said, my issue was that when you didn't hear from me, because the last thing you heard from me, and this is, ladies, pay attention, right? Because one of the things that's very big to me in relationship is safety. And when you didn't hear from me for that 15 minutes that I was searching for my phone, you didn't think, the last thing you heard was that I was getting in my car to come meet you. You didn't think maybe my tire blew out, maybe I got in a car wreck, maybe something happened to me. You immediately jumped to, this chick is trying to play me. And then you treated me that way with no evidence that that's who I was, right? That speaks to a much larger issue that you have going on, right? Now, this is where I want to empower you guys. At that point in time, you have a decision to make. I can continue to court this individual knowing that they have that level of skewed perspective. Right? She said insecure, and there's definitely some insecurities there. But I now get to decide if I want to continue with this courtship. And this is where people, I'm telling you, we cannot keep pointing fingers at these subpar relationships that you keep finding yourself in, forgetting the fact that when people have shown you who they are, you kept opting in for more. That was enough for me, okay? If you haven't heard from me and you don't think that my tire blew out and you're not searching hospitals to find out where I am, you're not the one for me, okay? I've given you no reason to think that that's who I am. So for you to immediately jump to malice and that I'm trying to hurt you, that's something that I have no control over that. The fact that I've been good to you up until this point played no part in your whole thought process that night. Again, I could have opted in. I decided not to. So I'm saying that to say, he was truly like dumbfounded, like I didn't want to talk to him anymore. But I have a right to say that's enough. I'm cool. This is where I get off at, right? So you have to be very intentional about who and why I am giving people access to me. And what is the criteria for access? What is the criteria for access? For me, it's safety. And you did not demonstrate safety in that instance, right? And that's not something that I want in my life. Okay. Absolutely. He had a whole issue with women and, it ain't got nothing to do with me, but let me tell you something. I know how to get out the way. Let you go deal with that on your own. Okay. All right. Now, and I will say this, right? Because no one that you meet is going to come with no baggage. 0 people that you meet will come with no baggage. My issue was not that he had insecurities. My issue was not that he had a past. My issue was not that he still had issues trusting women. That wasn't my issue. My issue was how you treated me because of your baggage. No one on this earth is going to come in your life without problems. The problem that they're struggling with is not the problem. Everybody has their stuff. But how do you treat me in the midst of your stuff is what I have a problem with. Because had he come to me and said, Brittany, you being late triggered me, you being late, made me feel some type of way. Had he come to me, I could have easily given him reassurance. I could have easily been vocal with him. I could have been loving. I could have been soft with him. And I could have understood where he was coming from and gave him reassurance that I want you. I'm here for you. literally, I was looking forward to that date like all week. Like, I've been looking forward to seeing you. I could have gave him that reassurance, but he didn't ask me that. Instead, he gave me, listen, and I'm a Virgo. The last thing you could do is give a Virgo a cold shoulder and don't think the North Pole ain't gonna come your way. Don't give me the cold shoulder and think that I ain't got the North Pole behind me, okay? All right. So he felt that North Pole and he was like, no, I was just kidding. I was like, nah, we good. Right? So him having the issues was not the problem. It was how he treated me because of the issues that was the problem. So when you're dating people, courting people, getting to know people, don't hold it against them if they have their issues. Everybody has their issues. But how do you treat me in the midst of your issues? That lets you know whether or not somebody's ready for an actual relationship. Do they communicate when they feel insecure? Do they communicate when they're not sure? Do they communicate when they need reassurance? Before you just act out and now you're treating me like I did something to you. Okay. All righty. Okay, let's see. Okay, Team Virgo, yeah, y'all already know. Don't make that mistake. How do you react when I accidentally hit a trigger or touched a scar? So it depends on the person you're dating, right? It depends on the person that you're dating. There's basically two responses. Well, I'll say three responses. You'll have the person who reacts immediately, and their reaction is strictly emotional, right? So you hit one of my triggers and I'm emotional about it. And most times I'm communicating and behaving with you from an emotional standpoint. There's not a lot of rationality there, right? That's what this guy demonstrated. He demonstrated an emotional response. Then you have the person who has the healed response. And that person, typically, when you hit a trigger, is going to let you know that you hit a trigger in some way. They're going to say, hey, I'm not okay with that. That right there makes me feel even if they can't say the emotion, they'll say some type of way. But the healed response, they will try to at least have a conversation to address the trigger that was hit. The breakdown typically in the healed response is that sometimes they're giving a healed response, but they may not know how to package. That's where communication skills comes in. They may not know how to package their complaint or package their grievance. And so sometimes they're trying to address the issue, but the packaging may be a little rough. We may need to do some refining about how they bring up issues, but they're trying, right? And then the third response is the person that has been triggered and they shut down to go process on their own. Those people typically are the people, they'll be triggered. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so those people will be triggered and then they won't talk about the issue for like a week or two. Right? So they have a delayed emotional response, basically. The delayed emotional response is not bad. It's just sometimes, depending on the partner that you're with, like if you're with a partner that wants to resolve issues right away, that could be a problem. If you're with a partner who has an anxious personality type, that could be a problem. So the delayed response is not bad, but you have to communicate that I'm having a delay in my response, right? I'm big for saying, hey, I need 48 hours to think about that. I need 48 hours of process. I'll get back with you. Because I very much have delayed responses. And it's mostly because I like to work out, because I am both intellectual, but also I'm intellectual and analytical. So I'm very database fact driven, but then I'm also emotional as well. So I have to take time to work through what I know based on facts and what I know based on emotion, and then come to a conclusion about how I feel about the situation. And that takes time. But because I know that about myself, when I'm in a relationship, I know that I have to communicate and say, hey, I need a week. Give me 3 days because I'm trying to digest everything that you said. I'm trying to really understand what happened and I need some time to process. Can we revisit this on Friday? Can we revisit this weekend? That's what healthy communication looks like, even if you have a delayed processing pattern. So it depends on the person that you're with. Okay, um, communicate with the person. And most times you will know people are triggered because their behavior changes in either way. Either they become very exaggerated or they shut down. You will know when people are triggered. You will know. It's better that even when you send something to say, hey, I see your behavior change. You're not laughing as much. You're not answering my calls, or you're texting back one word messages. What's that about? Right? Inquire to try to open up the communication channel. All right. And know your triggers. Okay. Some triggers can and it depends on where you are in your growth process. Some people can be caught off guard by their triggers, either because they genuinely did not know that that was a trigger for them, or because they haven't done enough self-awareness work to find their triggers, right? You want to know your triggers because they can't be catching you off guard all the time. You should know where your insecurities are. You should know where your soft spots are. You should know what things you can joke about and what things you can't joke about, right? And that means I got to have a good relationship with myself. Are you even creating that relationship with yourself so that you understand what your pain points are, what your triggers are? Because the better you know yourself, the better you can communicate that to your partner. It's nothing like being able to go to your partner and saying, hey, look, this is normally a very hard time for me, and I know that I'm probably not going to be myself. This is how you can support me this week. You know how many arguments that settles? Do you know how many misunderstandings that's going to immediately put away, right? To just say, hey, I'm giving you a heads up. Going home for Thanksgiving is triggering for me. So I may be more reserved than what you're used to me seeing, or I may be more on edge than what you're used to. Here's how you can support me. We got to know our triggers. All right, very good. Hey, Miss Sonia. Hey, Joseph. Hey, Angel. As a believer, can you date more than one guy for 2 months before making a choice? If yes, how can it be handled? Can you date more than one guy for 2 months? You can date more than one guy for 6 months. As a believer, okay, dating does not equate to sex. Dating does not equate to physical intimacy. Um, I mean, because, and again, most people say dating, but they are referring to courtship. When I'm in courtship, I am getting to know multiple people most times, if that's your thing, right? If you have multiple suitors, right? When I'm in courtship, people are courting me. And when I am dating, I have made a decision that I'm going to commit to this person in a dating experience, meaning I'm now exclusive with this person. So for me, when I'm dating one person because I have made a choice of exclusivity with one person as we continue on our journey of getting to know each other. If I'm courting, when I'm in courtship, you're open to as many suitors as you want to be open to, right? And that doesn't affect your relationship with God. It depends on what your relationship with God is, but it's essentially getting to know people, going bowling, going to the movies, going out to eat. I'm not sure how that would affect your relationship with God unless there's other things going on, right? Um, so be clear about your definitions. Are these people courting me where I'm getting to know them, or have I made an exclusive agreement to date one person? Okay. All right. Do I do private sessions? I don't do individual sessions. I do have the Made for This group. Let me give you all the link. The Made for This group, it is only for women, but we are starting on April 29th. Okay, the last week of April. You'll be working with me for 8 weeks. Check out the program, apply to the program. Apply to the program so that I can talk to you and see about getting you admitted. Okay. She said, be honest with those involved. Absolutely. Absolutely. Who else has questions? Let me scroll back up. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to. Oh, Phil, I want to answer a question from the guys. I don't think I have answered a question from the guys tonight. Well, no, I answered who'd I answer? Somebody's question. But I do want to answer my guys' question. So if y'all have questions, put it down below in the chat. Oh, I can feel in my heart I'm ready to become a husband, and the women I have been attracting need my help to fill their cup, but not mine. So I have a saying. Men are allowed in the daily fix, but the Made for This group is only for women. Okay. So I have a saying. You don't have to accept everything you attract. You do not have to accept everything you attract. So just because someone is attracted to me does not mean I have to accept their advances. It doesn't mean I have to accept their offers for courtship or partnership, right? One of the prerequisites is, especially when you're getting to know somebody, you have to inquire about, like, what is their life before you entered it? Like, they should have a sense of emotional stability before you entered it, or coping skills, because when you enter somebody's life, it doesn't mean that you're going to enter their life on the good part, right? You don't always enter somebody's life when it's good. So if I'm entering your life, and that's a part of intimacy, when I'm entering somebody's life, and I'm saying, hey, let me in, I'm not just saying let me into the good parts, unless I'm a parasite. But I'm not just saying let me into the good parts. I'm saying let me into the good parts, the parts that are still under construction, the parts that you ain't even started working on yet. All of it is a part of who you are, right? So when you're coming into somebody's life, understand that I'm coming into someone who is unfinished. So will this person need support in some way, in some capacity? Absolutely, because we're community. We are built to thrive on one another. But that person should already have systems in place that allow them to sustain themselves emotionally. Do they already have a support system? Be very leery of people who don't have no friends. Okay? People, men and women who ain't got no friends, okay? That is a red flag, because it means that they haven't learned how to live in community. Right? It means that they have not learned how to find their tribe and find their community, which means they're probably still working and finding themselves. Right? So when you're asking and you're getting to know people, ask about their support systems. Who's your best friend? What is the relationship like with them? What is the relationship like with your family? What things do you do, not for fun, but say, what things do you do when you get overwhelmed? What things do you do to blow off steam? What things do you do that bring you joy? What things do you do that make you feel closer to God? I'm asking you these questions because I want to see, do you already have a regimen for self-care, or are you looking for a Band-Aid? People who are looking for a Band-Aid typically It's very, for me, it's very easy to see because they come in and they bleed on you. If we go on a date, and I promise y'all, I have stories. I need to write a book. I went on a first date one time, and by the time we finished the night, this man was crying and telling me about his father who used to beat him. And I said, "Dear God, this was just the first date. This was no. I was like, I can't, right? And that's a whole nother conversation about, having healing energy and how do you date when, that's a whole other conversation. But you will know, and you will know that someone is ready for relationship and intimacy when not only are they requiring support from you, but they are also able and available to support you as well. That should be one of your prerequisites for intimacy. How well do you even show up to support me? Okay. How well do you show up to, in some way, bring something um, that is uplifting, that is motivating, that in some way adds value into my life from an emotional standpoint? From an emotional standpoint. If that's just texting to say, "Hey, I'm thought about you today. I want you to have a good day. I prayed for you today," whatever it is, in what ways are they adding value in that way to let me know that they are someone I can lean on? Okay. Get good at asking questions that help you see the person fully for who they are. Phil says he needs band-aids and peroxide. We'll get you some band-aids and peroxide. Yes, Leah says males and females with no friends are a huge red flag. I'm telling you, you got to know how to live in community. And because in zero relationships will you ever be 100% of what your partner needs, right? I'm never going to be everything my partner needs. So, does he have other outlets that he can go to and have healthy connections with people that can give him community or give him connection or give him intellectual stimulation or give him, fun, whatever it is he's looking for? I'm not going to be able to meet every need he has. So, when someone has a healthy support system, a healthy circle that they can go to, that one takes pressure off of the relationship for the relationship to be something that it was not designed to be, right? Your relationship is not a one-stop shop for everything. How do you pick who is right for you? Very good question, Phil. I'm so happy you asked that question. Picking who is right for you first starts with knowing who you are. Who am I? Because the better you get at knowing yourself, I need to post that video. But there's a difference between what I want and what I need in a relationship. The things I want typically are the things that are self-gratifying. They are low-hanging fruit. They're most times easy for me to get to. A lot of times they are one of the first things that I'm looking for. So, I want him to be tall and dark and handsome and a nice smile. And I want him to open doors. And, I want him to, have a certain job, or I want him to like dogs. That's great. That's wonderful. But none of that will get you through a 20-year marriage, 30-year marriage, none of it. So our wants many times feel good to us, but they are not substantial and they're not based on longevity. My needs in a relationship are the things that I need to be sustained mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, right? My needs many times can look like, oh, y'all heard me say it tonight, emotional safety. I need to know that I'm safe with you. And I said this to someone this week in the comments. Safety. Am I safe from the parts of yourself that could hurt me? I will do a whole video on that. Am I safe from the parts of you that could hurt me? Because a lot of people miss the point. They'll say, "Well, I'm a provider. I'm a protector and I'm gonna protect you from everything but me. I'm gonna protect you from everything but me. Okay. I need to know that I'm safe from your ego. I need to know that I'm safe from your insecurity. I need to know that I'm safe from your selfishness. I need to know that I'm safe from the parts of you that are still under construction. That's what full safety looks like. Um, another need, intellectual intimacy, right? Intellectual intimacy to me is just as important as physical intimacy, right? I need to know that you see me, not just Brittainy today. I need to know that you see Brittainy 20 years from now. I need to know that I need to know you see Brittainy, I don't know, 30 days from now. A year from now. And I'm saying that because some people fall in love with your now and they have not taken into account the person that you're growing into. Can you see me as, this international speaker who's going to be on stages all across the world? And can you be comfortable with me on stage and you in the crowd? That's a whole nother conversation, y'all. I ain't gonna go there. So I need to know that this man's character is in alignment with the vision. And woman, okay, because men, y'all get it wrong too. Her body is banging, but her character is trash. Imagine how I speak to my brothers, okay? Her body is banging, but her character is trash. Her ability to sit in her heart space is trash. Her ability to communicate with you in a respectful way is trash, right? So know the difference between what you want in a partnership and what you need in a partnership, because you will find yourself disqualifying people because they have what you want, but they do not have what you need. And that is a very mature decision, because that means that no matter how much I like them, because they have what I want, and they took me to the fancy restaurant and they made me feel good and they compliment me and they text me every morning, those things are cute and they're nice and they feel good, but they are not able to sustain a lifelong partnership. They're not. So I will disqualify you because you have what I want, but you don't have what I need. Okay. And that's a hard conversation, y'all. I promise y'all. Okay. It's a hard conversation because they don't understand it. They're like, but our chemistry is great. Our connection is great. We gel so well. Right. But your character development ain't there. Right. But your ego gets in the way of you validating my emotions. You're cute though. You cute. All right, y'all. All right. We're going to take one more question. I'm going to get on up out of here. One more question. Okay. If you want to join my coaching program, it's right there. The link is the MFT program. We start on the 29th. We would love to have you. Go ahead and apply and I'll get to y'all. I'll meet with y'all, myself or Leah. If she's still here, Leah, the therapist, is my associate therapist and made for this. And we are trying to knock out these interviews as fast as possible, y'all, as fast as possible to get people admitted in the program. Okay. All right. Let's see. Phil says, I love cookies. I'm finna block Phil. Very good. Okay. When my inner child gets accidentally hurt, what can I do to make a mature decision and not the child make the decision? Okay. If you are in the Daily Fix, or if you want to join the Daily Fix, I have quite a bit of content talking about how to deal with our inner child, right? Because our inner child is very much the part of ourselves that, first of all, it never goes away. It is forever present. It is always a part of who you are, right? You have to learn how to manage my inner child so my inner child is not managing me, okay? So the inner child is your emotional space. The inner child is typically the part of you that reacts like a toddler when things don't go your way, when you're disappointed, when you're hurt, when Somebody don't do what you want them to do. When you want something, you don't get it. That inner child kicks up. Keep in mind, most things that trigger the inner child are going to be things that either did or did not happen in childhood, right? So that inner child is going to kick up the minute somebody doesn't want to be with you, if you have abandonment issues, if you have rejection issues, right? And the thing about the inner child, you have to develop a relationship with them. Um, y'all got to join the Daily Fix because I have a whole video. I have multiple videos on it, but the relationship that you have with the inner child is very much how you would treat your own child, right? So when your child starts crying and throw a tantrum, you don't say, "Stop that. Why are you crying? Get up, suck it up." No, you're probably very nurturing to that child. You're probably very patient and loving and kind to that child while still not giving the child what it wants. You don't allow the child to hurt itself. You're not going to let the kid stick a finger in the electric socket, but you're going to be self-soothing to the child. Okay. I have a whole discussion on self-soothing techniques, right? When my inner child is triggered, before I can go into problem solving, I first need to go into self-soothing. How do I soothe myself when my emotions have been triggered before I can come into a rational space to make a mature decision, right? So that gap between trigger and decision in the middle is self-soothing. What things can I do that will soothe my inner child to bring my emotions down to where now I can rationally look at this situation and come to a healed perspective about what happened? Okay. Because the inner child will lie. The inner child will be like, they don't like you. That's why they did it. The inner child will be like, hey, they hating on you. Okay. They hurt me. The inner child is always the victim. Okay. Always. But when I can get to a healed perspective, I can see sometimes people's behavior has nothing to do with me. Many times people's behavior, they just happen to step on one of my issues and they didn't even know that issue was there. But in order for me to get to the healed perspective, I got to do the emotional work that looks like self-soothing. Okay. You guys, Phil is trolling me. He is a part of the Poor Horseman, and I was gonna wear the Poor Horseman hoodie tonight, but I'm so happy that I did not because Philip is trolling tonight. Okay, but we love Phil. We love the Poor Horseman. Breon, one of my very good friends, LP is a part of the Poor Horseman tribe, and we love them. Okay, they are a special group of individuals. Go follow them at the Poor Horseman podcast. All right, y'all. I have enjoyed y'all. Again, Made for This program starts the last week of April. You guys can apply tonight to get on my calendar so that we can get you interviewed for the program and see if it's a good fit for you. If you're not ready to join the program, then get the book. Made for This is on Made for This is on Amazon. Okay, that's my book where I am retelling all of my trauma, all my relationship trauma in that book. But most importantly, I'm teaching you how to heal. So if you are trying to heal from a breakup, setbacks, disappointments, Made for This is the book that you want to read in this season. Outside of that, join the Daily Fix. We talk every morning. Okay. My tribe tunes in with me Monday through Friday, and we have a very good time on this healing journey. Okay. So I got my book yesterday. Good. I get so many messages about that book. People will message me and be like, I couldn't get through it like without taking a break. It is emotionally triggering. Okay. I need to put a trigger warning on the cover. It can be emotionally triggering, right? But we don't heal unless some very soft spots are touched. So I did my job, right? I did my job. Okay. I have enjoyed you guys. Y'all have a wonderful night, and I will talk to TDF in the morning. To the rest of you guys, I will see y'all next week. All right.